before will know that I might get a bit nervous and I have a tendency to waffle on and repeat myself. So to avoid that today, with the help of a friend, I've made a film about why we're all here. Now, it's not often when you're doing an event like this that you start with a thank you, but I'm actually going to do just that, because I have my sister Jo to thank for the theme of our event today. Earlier in the year, she was taking the mickey out of me when I was multitasking on some chores, and she played me the Cinderella Mousework song. So, unknowingly, she planted the seed of an idea, which germinated and turned into this whole event, and also gave me the concept for the following film. Here I am, poor little Cinderella, doing my chores again, but it's not easy for an old scrubber like me. My neck aches, arms are numb, and my hands are really stiff, and my feet hurt. Oh, it's the arthritis in my joints. Oh, it's so painful. It just takes me longer to do everyday tasks. I can only do my housework in short bursts. Instead of it taking a day, it takes all week. I get shocks and inflammation in my right hand that I can't grip properly, and I keep dropping things. Oh, and worst of all, my arm goes numb and my neck's so stiff and sore in the night. It's really hard to get a good night's sleep. I'm permanently knackered. Oh, if only my fairy godmother could appear to make my wish come true of a life without pain.
Hello Cinders, I'm not your fairy godmother, but I'm the Versus Arthritis Angel. Have you heard of this charity?
Yes, I have heard of them, but how can they help me?
Well, they're a charity that help people with their arthritis, like you. They fund research into all aspects of the disease, and they run support groups all over the country. But most importantly, their aim is to get those with the disease to come forward and ask for help. Many people think that they have to put up with the pain, or that it's an old person's disease. Let me show you this.
Oh, this is for arthritis. You'll know about this, Jenny.
I've got arthritis.
I know, exactly.
Arthritis steals from someone you know. Every day.
Oh, I bet
That's so painful.
Imagine waking up in that much pain. That's horrible, isn't it?
She's a young woman. She's not even that old and she's got arthritis.
That's not living, that's surviving. That's arthritis controlling your life.
Why have they put the bed like it's in the classroom?
Because she's thinking she wants to be there.
It can prevent you from being able to work.
It's showing it for what it is. It's like the difficult things, like the small difficult things like getting out of bed. Yeah. And like, it's showing the realness of it and how it can impact anyone.
From being yourself.
Oh my God.
The pain on her face. It's heartbreaking.
It shouldn't be like this.
No, you're right there, love.
Arthritis is life-changing, only we never take the time to think about it. Maybe we should.
That's why we are Versus Arthritis.
I get more stressed now.
Because you can't fasten your coat.
Yeah.
You can't open that tin of beans.
Yeah, and I've got to ask somebody. And that, I think, is the worst, when I've got to ask somebody, because I feel like I'm stupid.
When you've got things like this coming on and you realise then, don't you think to yourself, it's about time now we addressed it.
Have you been in a situation where you don't really know the person and you needed that help? That must be awful to ask that. Isn't it?
Let's get arthritis taken seriously.
You see, there are over 10 million people in this country who suffer in silence, like you're doing, aren't you?
Well, yes, I suppose so. Sometimes it's really painful and even excruciating, but I just take painkillers and carry on.
I thought so. Well, as you know, it's painful enough to affect your life quite radically.
Yes, you're right. I had to give up my career in my mid-40s because I just couldn't stand the pain at work any longer. I lost my independence and my income, and that was really hard.
Exactly. That's why the charity is called Versus Arthritis. They want more people to push back against arthritis to get something done about it.
Like what?
All sorts of things. They're funding many research projects. Scientists are looking at 3 main areas at the moment. The first is looking at the causes of the disease itself. You know, the different types of arthritis. Here is just one of those research projects.
Hello, my name is Leonie Thames and I'm a professor of immune regulation and inflammation at King's College London. And I've been privileged enough to receive a program grant from Versus Arthritis to drive forward the research we do in my lab. So a couple of years ago, we identified that when we added TNF blockade in a petri dish in the lab to certain immune cells, these cells started to produce an anti-inflammatory molecule. And we also found that when we looked at blood samples of patients with rheumatoid arthritis who have been treated with TNF blockade, they also had higher proportions of CD4 cells that were making this anti-inflammatory molecule. So these we call IL-10 producing CD4 T cells. Now CD4 T cells are important for the immune system because they like the conductors of the immune response. They tell other immune cells what to do. So under inflammatory conditions, these cells can give a signal to promote inflammation. But what we found was that once we had given these cells TNF blockade, they were giving a signal to stop inflammation. So the purpose of our program grant is really to try to understand indeed whether the upregulation of this molecule really does drive an anti-inflammatory function. So we're working on this with 5 people in total. We're making good progress and we hope to be able to report to you soon. Thank you.
Well, that sounds useful. My hands and feet swell up a lot because of inflammation. So making cells switch from causing it to reducing it would be really fab. What other research projects do they do?
The second is about how to treat arthritis once you've got it, about new types of operations and tackling pain at its source.
The aim of our study is to get a better understanding of the symptoms that comes with joint pain, such as anxiety, low mood and fatigue. Moreover, we will investigate the potential of inhibiting a protein called FKBP51, which is a regulator of the stress pathway, to improve the quality of life of those with arthritis. As indeed, work previously carried out in mice was able to demonstrate that blocking this protein can not only reduce the pain that comes with joint inflammation, but can also reduce anxiety-like behavior.
So, blocking a protein that causes stress and pain would mean I could get a better night's sleep and have more energy. Fantastic. Anything else?
Lastly, there is the area of health. For example, designing specialist equipment for home and for work. And there is the area of physical activity.
Hi, my name's Mike Hurley. For over 25 years I've been researching exercise-based rehabilitation programs for people with chronic joint pain. We've developed a rehabilitation program called Escape Pain to help people with chronic joint pain. Escape Pain stands for Enabling Self-Management and Coping with Arthritic Pain Through Exercise. It combines a challenging, progressive exercise regimen with advice, information and education to help people manage their pain better.
And has other wider benefits as well, reduce anxiety, depression and improves their quality of life. And it encourages them to understand that exercise isn't going to hurt them and activity isn't going to hurt them, which is often what they're worried about.
Well, I do lots of gym sessions and classes, and that's how I deal with my arthritis. Go on, tell me more.
The charity does a lot of work supporting people living with arthritis, from helplines to support groups, from sharing tips to getting patients collaborating with doctors and researchers on the best way forward.
Well, that's all great, but can you grant me my wish of being pain-free, please?
I'd love to, but I'm afraid I'm only a versus arthritis angel and I don't have any magic powers. If I did, I'd heal myself, as I've got arthritis in my knee.
Oh, poor you. Well, it looks like I'll have to wait longer to be pain-free.
I've had a thought. If I can't grant you your wish, perhaps those of you watching this could. Instead of buying Lisa drinks or gifts, could you donate that money to the Versus Arthritis charity?
Brilliant idea. It's up to you guys. Please make my birthday wish come true. Donate as if you were buying me a really big present or lots of drinks at the bar. Join us. Add your voice to Versus Arthritis.
You lose your sense of identity, who you are, and I was no longer useful. It can affect anybody, and it doesn't care who you are.
Dissecting the film, I have a visitor to introduce to you. I would like to introduce Dr. Al-Tarabi from the Bachman Group at the Janet Institute, University of Oxford.
Thank you so much, Lisa.
I'm so surprised at this. I apologise.
Hello. My name is Adil Al-Tarabi. I work for Professor Martin Bachman in the University of Oxford. We are part of the Jenner Institute, and I'm here to talk to you about our research, which is funded by Versus Arthritis. Their focus is to bring together everybody to accelerate vaccines through the early stages towards the clinical development, move it out of the labs and into the clinic. So when you're looking at osteoarthritis, it is a progressive degenerative disease. It's the destruction of the cartilage. On the left there, you can see a normal cartilage, and on the right, we can see what happens in osteoarthritis, where the cartilage is destroyed and damaged. And what happens there is with that destruction, and we can score this in animals, in mice, we can follow that destruction, and what we see is an increase in pain that occurs with that destruction. And the way you measure pain in a mouse is you give them a questionnaire and you say, how much does it hurt? They chew that up and spit it out at you. And so you have to find another way. And the way you do that is you look to see how they're shifting their weight on their back legs. So this little torture implement down here is to basically measure that distribution of weight bearing on their legs. So if your left knee hurts, you'll shift your weight over to your right. So that's what we're measuring here, and you can see that I'm going to walk over here, at the time when we have the largest amount of disease, we're seeing basically this is normal, and then here we see pain taking hold and they're shifting their weight. So what do we know about pain in osteoarthritis? Well, there are signaling molecules which go up with the destruction of the cartilage, and this is mirrored with an increase in pain. In pain, we see large amounts of nerve growth factor. So what happens if you block nerve growth factor? So anti-nerve growth factor treatments are being made, and what they're showing really nicely in late stage trials, and they're showing that if you block nerve growth factor, you can rescue pain. So our idea is to make a vaccine, and we tested it in mice. Basically, we gave the vaccine, we then induced the disease using surgery, and then we looked to see what happened. So here is a lovely chart just showing that when you give the vaccine, the amount of antibodies that are presented go up, and then if you stop the vaccine, it goes down. 48 hours, one day later, the vaccinated mice miraculously are showing normal weight distribution, so they're showing that their pain behavior is being reversed. I've been working a long time, I've never seen experiments working so well. I know this is mice, and I know this is early. This is really good news, and this is really quite exciting for us. So, the promise of this is that we can then make cheaper, more clinically relevant, easy to apply drugs, which you can then give to people earlier. And this has been a good news story for me. I've really enjoyed this, but we're only partway done. So thank you.
Don't mess around. Get on with it. Now, I have a couple of thank yous. Obviously, thank you to our visitors from Oxford today who've come in and made a great contribution to the afternoon. But I'd also like to thank all the researchers and the doctors and the professors who sent me their films, and a couple of them filmed themselves especially for me on my request when I said I was interested in their particular research. So that support of that was really absolutely overwhelming. It was great. I'd also like to thank Kelly, who donated the cake. Unfortunately, she can't be here this afternoon, but she's a fellow arthritis sufferer, and she wanted to make her contribution in a different way, so we have her to thank for the cake. Next round of applause has to be for my co-star, Michael, who's standing there in the middle of the room. My not fairy godmother, but my versus arthritis angel, who helped me really make my dreams come true. I couldn't have made that film if he didn't say that he was prepared to be in it with me. So thank you very much to Michael. Obviously, thank you all of you that are here, that are attending, that are supporting. So thank you all for being here. My last thank you is to my real life Prince Charming. To Guy. He's hiding over there, by the bar. You can just about see him above the top of the bar. Very good. Had to get a short joke in somewhere, didn't I? Who obviously puts up with me, has put up with me for a very long time. He's put up with me going on and on and on about this event for ages, but also who supports me every single day. Thank you.